For the town of Newmarket, 2025. I can see that there's a few people still filtering in, but the notice says we start at 9, so we start at 9. My name is Chris Hawkins. I'm the town and school district moderator, and I want to thank everybody for coming out in the weather. Our first order of business, as always, is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The moderator's rules of procedure are out there on the table. I'm not going to review them all, but just want to go over a couple of quick points. First is the rules of procedure that are out there that I've developed are the rules that apply. Robert's Rules of Order do not apply. And what I'm going to do, unless there is an objection, is allow the town manager to speak. He's not a resident of the town. If there's an objection, the meeting can always overrule, and then we can have a formal vote on whether Mr. Fournier should be allowed to speak. And then in general, if I make a ruling on a procedural question, you can overrule it. It's your meeting. I'm just here to kind of moderate and try to keep us on track. We have a number of warrant articles for consideration today. The way the law works is unless the warrant articles are amended, they will go on the ballot on the final warrant as presented. Okay? So we don't have to have a vote to approve them. They're going on the warrant unless they are amended. There are limits on what can be amended and how, but if we get to that point, we'll go over that in more detail. Anybody who wants to speak to a warrant article will be allowed to do so. We try to limit people to 3 minutes each. And if you want to speak, if you address an article and you sit down and you have another point you want to raise, you're free to come back to the microphone. We just ask that if anyone has not yet spoken to the article, they get the first chance to do so before anybody is allowed to do so twice. With that said, we're going to proceed. What I'm going to do is read each warrant article and then open the floor for discussion, question, or comment. So to the inhabitants of the town of Newmarket, County of Rockingham, and the state of New Hampshire, qualified to vote in town affairs. This is the first session, the deliberative session of the town meeting. The annual budgetary town meeting held today, February 1st, 2025, starting at 9 a.m. The deliberative session will consist of explanation, discussion, and debate of each of the following warrant articles. And there's copies of the articles out at the table outside for anyone who hasn't had an opportunity to see them. And we'll afford those voters who are present the opportunity to propose, debate, and adopt amendments to each warrant article, except those articles whose wording is prescribed by state law. You are also notified to meet for the second session of the annual town meeting, which is town voting day, to elect town officers by official ballot and to vote by official ballot on the warrant articles as they may have been amended at the first session. And the voting session is at the Newmarket Town Hall, March 11th, 2025, between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. And there are 2 town council positions, 3 municipal budget committee positions for 3 years, 1 budget committee position for 1 year, 2 planning board positions for 3 years, 1 planning board position for 2 years, and a position of trustee of the trust funds for 3 years. That's a preview of what you will be seeing on the upcoming ballot. Turning to Article 2 of the warrant. Sorry? This is the issuance of up to $5.5 million in bonds or notes for the purpose of replacing the Bay Road force main and pump station improvements. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of up to $5,500,000 and no cents for the purpose of all work needed to engineer and construct the Bay Road force main replacement and pump station improvements. Such sum to be raised by the issuance of serial bonds or notes not to exceed $5.5 million under and in compliance with the provisions of the Municipal Finance Act, which is New Hampshire RSA 33:1 and following as amended. RSA means Revised Statutes Annotated. And to authorize the town council to issue and negotiate such bonds or notes, and to determine the date, term of payment, and rate of interest thereon. Further, to take such other actions as may be necessary to effect the issuance, negotiation, sale, and delivery of such bonds or notes as shall be in the best interest of the town of Newmarket, New Hampshire. Additionally, to authorize the town council to apply for, receive, and expend federal and state grants which may at any time become available in accordance with RSA 31:95B, and also to apply for, receive, and expend money from any other governmental unit or private source to be used for purposes which the town council may legally appropriate money. The authorized amount of $5.5 million shall be reduced by congressionally directed spending, requested funding, if received by the town, estimated at up to $2,550,000 and no cents. If passed, there will be no impact on the tax rate. This is recommended unanimously by the town council and the budget committee, and if passed, no impact on the tax rate. A 2/3 majority vote is required. And what I'm going to do is give Mr. Fournier an opportunity to just address this article. So if there are questions, they can be informed by the information he has to share with us. Mr. Fournier.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. This is a bond. If people weren't aware, this year we had a leak. Right now, the sewer main goes through the Lamprey River. We had a leak in it, and we had to fix it. We were able to fix it. But this is to get the pipe out of the Lamprey River. We're looking at two options: either going down Bay Road and connecting there, or using refurbishing the pedestrian bridge that currently goes over the river and connecting the pipe under there. We're hoping to get $2.5 million in congressionally directed spending, which is you commonly refer to as earmarks. There's no impact on tax rate, but there is an impact on the water and sewer user rates. So,
Thank you, Mr. Fournier. Any comments, questions, motions with respect to warrant article number 2? Mr. Swanson, if you can just state your name and address, please.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Gary Swanson, 1 Durrell Drive. Thank you all very much for being here. I appreciate it. I know it's a cold and snowy morning. Can you inform us approximately how much water district funding may, or pricing may go up for this? And also, I understand we definitely need to, apologies. Gary Swanson, 1 Durrell Drive. I was asking whether or not he could inform us how much the water district rates will go up from this. And the other question I had was, I understand that we need to fix this force main, 100% agree with it. I'm just wondering how much of the money goes towards the force main versus the improvements to the pumping station.
Did everybody hear the question? Okay.
I don't have the number right off the top of my head for the rate impact. We'd have to do more studies there. As for the force main itself versus the pumping station, I believe the pumping station is about $500,000, and the rest is the piping.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Any further questions, comments, motions with respect to warrant article number 2? Seeing none, article 2 will proceed to the warrant as presented. Warrant article number 3, issuance of $100,000 bonds for the purpose of planning and design of the Bay Road force main replacement. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $100,000 and no cents for the purpose of planning and design efforts for the Bay Road force main replacement. Such sum to be raised by the issuance of serial bonds or notes not to exceed $100,000 under and in compliance with the provisions of the Municipal Finance Act, RSA 33:1 and following as amended, and to authorize the town council to issue and negotiate such bonds or notes, and to determine the date, term of payment, and rate of interest thereon. Further, to take such other actions as may be necessary to effect the issuance, negotiation, sale, and delivery of such bonds or notes as shall be in the best interest of the town of Newmarket, New Hampshire. Additionally, to authorize the town council to apply for, receive, and expend federal and state grants which may at any time become available in accordance with RSA 31:95B, and also to apply for, receive, and expend money from any other governmental unit or private source to be used for purposes which the town council may legally appropriate money. It is anticipated that the town will receive up to $100,000 in principal forgiveness from the Clean Water State Revolving Fund Loan Program. Recommended unanimously by the town council and the budget committee. If passed, no impact on the tax rate, 2/3 majority vote required.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, my next thing was to, A, ask Mr. Fournier to address this, and B, perhaps explain the relationship between this and warrant article number 2.
Sure. So this is basically where we have to separate the design of the project from the actual project itself because we're receiving the principal forgiveness from the state revolving loan fund. So we have to ask for 2 different votes. That's why it's separate from there. There's no impact because it's going to be principal forgiveness. So it's basically, they said, okay, we'll give you the money to design it. But we have to borrow the money from them.
Any further questions, comments, motions with respect to warrant article number 3? Seeing none, warrant article 3 will proceed to the warrant as presented. Article 4, Cushing Road and Lubberland Drive Stormwater Improvement Project. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,440,000 and no cents for the purpose of design and construction of stormwater system improvements along a segment of Cushing Road and Lubberland Drive in accordance with state and federal water quality guidelines, hereinafter referred to as the project. Such sum to be raised by the issuance of serial bonds or notes not to exceed $1,440,000 in accordance with the provisions of the Municipal Finance Act, RSA Chapter 33, and to authorize the town council and treasurer to issue and negotiate such bonds or notes and to determine the date, term of payment, and rate of interest thereon, and to take such actions as may be necessary to effect the issuance, negotiation, sale, and delivery of such bonds or notes as shall be in the best interest of the town, and to further authorize the town to apply for, receive, and expend federal and state grants which may at any time become available in accordance with RSA 31:95B, and also apply for, receive, and expend funds from any other governmental unit or private source to be used for purposes which the town council may legally appropriate funds, and to participate in the state revolving fund, RSA 486:14. It is anticipated that the town will receive up to $360,000 in principal forgiveness from the state revolving loan program. If passed, it is estimated that this article will have a 7-cent impact on the tax rate, 2/3 vote required, recommended unanimously by the town council and the municipal budget committee. Mr. Fournier.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I think many people in this room may know, there's some issues with the drainage issue in the area of Cushing Road and Lubberland Drive. So what we're going to do is basically replace it. It's going to reduce the pollutants of the Great Bay, reduce coastal erosion, and mitigate impacts from unmanaged stormwater runoff, and address the flood risks in the area. As the moderator mentioned, it's a $1.44 million project with $360,000 or 25% principal forgiveness. There is an impact on the tax rate because this is a public works project. So.
Any motions, comments, questions with respect to warrant article number 4? Sir, if you can just announce your name and address, that'd be great.
Alex Capron, 7 Moody Point Drive. Can you remind me what year the development was built on Cushing and Lubberland? Anyone remember? 87,
Yeah.
Okay.
Late 80s, I would have said, yeah.
At that time, was there any thought given to having the developers take account of the fact that a lot of hardscape is going in, roads and patios and driveways and so forth, and the coast is being disrupted as the houses are built and views are created and so forth. And it's not so much a question of the appropriateness of this project. My question has to do in a more forward-looking way with what would happen now if such a project were proposed. Would this all be incorporated into the cost of the project to have stormwater mitigation?
Well, when I was 11, when the project happened in 1987, so I wasn't here.
You must have been the youngest town manager.
But yes, we would make sure that it would be part of the development from now on. I will say that we have a much more professional staff than we did in 1986, including an on-staff town engineer that worked on this project to bring this forward. My understanding, Mr. Simon actually gave me history right before this meeting of this project, that there was some discussions back then about
The impact?
the impact and what was actually built. And there was some concerns with the state, and it came back to the town. And this is finally fixing it after that many years.
Thank you.
I can also say, in my capacity as a longtime resident, that environmental standards have changed radically since 1987, particularly with respect to stormwater drainage. So it's a totally different regulatory environment now than it was back then. Beyond that, we can go back and look at planning board meeting minutes, but we are where we are. Any further comment, discussion, motions with respect to warrant article number 4? Seeing none, warrant article 4 will proceed to the warrant as presented. Warrant article number 5, approving an amendment to the collective bargaining agreement reached between the town of Newmarket and New England Police Benevolent Association Local 215. To see if the town will vote to approve the cost items included in the amendment to the collective bargaining agreement reached between the town of Newmarket and the New England Police Benevolent Association Local 215, which represents the police employees, which calls for the following increases in salaries and benefits at the current staffing level. For fiscal year 2026, estimated salary and salary-driven benefits increase of $295,015. And further, to raise and appropriate the sum of $295,015 for the fiscal year 2026, such sum representing the additional costs attributable to the increase in salaries and benefits required by the amendment to the agreement over those that will be paid at current staffing levels. If passed, it is estimated that this article will amount to 17 cents on the tax rate. It is recommended by the town council and by the municipal budget committee, both unanimously. Mr. Fournier.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. It's very rare that we open up a collective bargaining agreement in the middle of the agreement. However, we've been having a lot of turnover in the police department because of salaries. It's not because of culture, it's not because of anything like that, it's just plain salaries. You hear it in every municipality around here, but you're also seeing their contracts being changed and offering more money. So in order to try to alleviate that, we're proposing, well, we already did increase the $65 an hour for detail rates. That's something we could do before the approval of the warrant article, because it's not something that's charged to the town, it's charged to the people having the details. We're changing the name of longevity and replace with retention incentive, because longevity sounds like you get paid something for just showing up for a long time. It's actually, we're trying to retain people, so we're increasing the amount that people receive for staying on with the town. We are doing a one-time hourly increase of $7 for patrol officers, $5 for sergeants, and $4 for dispatch, and it'll be implemented on March 15th if this were to pass. We have the money in the current budget due to vacancies to cover it for the fiscal year 25. However, in order to, for fiscal year 26, we would have to raise the $295,015 to include it. We're just trying to stop the hemorrhage of police officers.
Any comments, questions, motions with respect to warrant article number 5? Mr. Swanson, One Durrell Drive.
Yes, thank you very much. If the body will allow, can we have Chief Jordan up? I have a couple questions that you might specifically be able to answer.
Yeah, Chief, Mr. Swanson would like to ask you some questions, if you don't mind stepping forward.
Not just because I enjoy putting him on the spot. I do have actual questions. Absolutely. Thank you. Chief, I know we're down 4 or 5 officers at this point.
Yeah, currently, we have 3 vacancies. We just filled one.
Oh.
So we have 3 vacancies right now.
Okay, excellent. And in your opinion, if this does not pass, do you think we'll lose any more officers?
I do. I think that there's a couple that have received offers from towns in the area, and I think that there's a chance that they would leave if we didn't pass this.
And I was just wondering if you could, I'm sorry, there's no one else yet. If you could just kind of indicate how this has impacted the services that you're able to give us as a community?
It has impacted us tremendously. There are many times currently, there is one police officer working. We've tried to get to have double coverage all the time, and we've had to reduce that quite a bit. Usually on the overnights, there's only one police officer working. And an example where that's a problem is last Saturday we had a call with a domestic situation with firearms, and we had to call in mutual surrounding communities to help us address that, as one officer cannot handle that on their own. But it is a tremendous problem, and if we were to lose a few more, it could impact our ability to have officers in the school or that extra coverage.
Great. Thank you very much for your questions, answers, and your commitment to our community.
Thank you, Chief Jordan.
Either or.
Hi, Tony Weinstein, 13 Moody Point Drive. My question is about the retention and then the onboarding of new officers, because I know it's a significant cost when we have to onboard a new officer. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, it really is a year's worth of salary once we get them on board before they become what we call a solo assignment officer. That's the training that we use, and when they go to the police academy, we're paying those salaries, as well as things when we have to outfit a new officer. That can be very expensive. Just the uniforms and gear alone can be between $3,000 and $4,000. And each time we have a new officer, that is what happens. There are some benefits to this as well, where a certified police officer, which is an officer that's already been to the police academy, may want to come. We've had a couple people interested, but when they saw the salaries that we could offer, they turned us down. They wanted to come here, but they just couldn't do it based on the salaries that we were offering. We think this will help us attract other candidates that may already be certified. Those people, we can get them up and running more quickly and more efficiently. And it is just that first year is a tremendous amount of time and effort and training that we have to put in to a brand new officer.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Tony. Any further questions, comments, any motions with respect to warrant article number 5? Seeing none, warrant article 5 will proceed to the warrant as presented. Warrant article 6, the fiscal year 2026 operating budget. To see if the town will raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles, the amount set forth on the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by vote of the first session for the purposes set forth therein, totaling $18,634,219. Should this article be defeated, the default budget will be $18,145,158, which is the same as last year, with certain adjustments required by previous action of the town or by law. Or the town council may hold one special meeting to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. If passed, it is estimated that passage of this article will amount to $4.65 of the tax rate, which is a 26-cent increase over the previous year. Majority vote required. This is recommended unanimously by the Budget Committee and the Town Council. Mr. Fournier.
Again, thank you, Mr. Moderator. Just going to go over the budget real quickly. It's actually not current tax rate. This is where the amount of funds that we actually have. So 61% of the budget is the general fund, which is raised through taxation alone, taxation and other revenues. That's what most people consider the operating budget of the town. 12% is for special revenue funds. Those are the funds such as recreation revolving that they take in revenues that offset their programming. It's also partially the solid waste. We also put the library in there because the library receives a grant and is governed by the Board of Library Trustees that is separate from the town. Finally is the enterprise funds, which makes up 27% of the budget, which is the water and sewer. The monies come from the water and sewer ratepayers. This is just a 5-year tax rate comparison. As you can see, we are at $5 range, $6 range. You did see a significant decrease. That's because of the revaluation that everybody went through last year. It's still probably, it's about the same, but it's just, we saw the decrease because of the revaluation. So, Town Council, as mentioned, is proposing a $18,634,219 budget. The total increase is $946,388. The general fund is $748,852. Special revenue is $92,706. And enterprise funds $104,830. Where's the increase going? Human resources is $182,923. We're seeing fringe benefit costs increase, retirement, and healthcare increases. Police department is 5.25% increase, $115,904. That is the previously approved collective bargaining agreement. So that is an addition to what we were approved, the separate warrant article. Welfare, we're seeing a $5,000 increase in rental assistance. This is the first year we've actually had an increase in welfare in a number of years. It's just because rents are going up and we need to assist, we're having more people need to assist. Assessing, $11,000 for assessing software. You don't buy software anymore, you subscribe to software, and this is what we're seeing for the increase for our assessing software. Legal is increased by 15%. We have an attorney I'm trying to think of the word, I'm blanking. Retainer, thank you. And we haven't had an increase in a number of years. That's why we're having a 15% increase this year. Street lighting, we're seeing an increase due to electricity costs of 12.7%. There is a contribution to the Sidewalk Repair Capital Reserve Fund of $80,000. We're trying to get more sidewalks fixed. And finally, we're doing a fire department study for $70,000. What our concern is with the fire department is that we have a quote-unquote volunteer fire department. We actually have a part-time per diem fire department. We've been relying a lot more on firefighters from other communities, on their full-time firefighters on other communities, on their days off, come work for us, and we pay them for those days. Our concern is how long is that feasible to do that, and what do we do if that runs out? So we're having a complete study of the fire department to figure out, our next steps so we don't get caught with a situation we don't have enough fire coverage. The revenue budget, anytime we do an operating budget, it's offset by revenues. So we're looking at a $10,957,293 revenue budget. And again, that's the default budget, just a comparison that the moderator mentioned. And finally, the next slide is just an estimate only using data as we have today. And how we figure out the tax rate is you take the gross appropriations of $18.6 million, you subtract the revenues of 10.9 or $11 million. You add overlay, which is our abatements that we have to pay, or other items that come up, it's about $150,000 a year. And the war service credits, when you have the veterans exemptions, that's what we have to pay there as well. So the net appropriation is $7,971,926. You divide that by $1,713,850,830, which is the valuation of the town. You multiply that by 1,000, you get to the tax rate of $4.65. That's it.
Any questions, comments, motions with respect to warrant Article 6?
Ann Smith, 41 Lady Slipper Drive. On the handout, it showed the default budget as being the same number as the proposed budget, so that's not correct?
That's an error on that handout. The budget's different.
His question was,
Yeah,
there's an
a
error.
typo.
There's an error on the handout. What's written on the warrant is the accurate
Yeah.
set of numbers. Any further questions, comments, motions with respect to warrant Article number 6? Seeing none, warrant Article 6 will proceed to the warrant as presented. Article 7, short and sweet. Shall a charter commission be established for the purpose of revising the municipal charter or establishing a new municipal charter? Recommended by the town council, 7-0. Mr. Forninger.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. For those who don't know, the town charter is the constitution for the town. Newmarket's unique that we're one of 8 towns in the state that have a charter. So we work under a council manager form of government, not a board of selectmen form of government. We're closer to a city than we are to a traditional town. It is recommended usually that every 10 years we should look at a charter commission just to see, is it still working for us? Is that what the form of government we want to have? If passed, a special election would be held to elect 9 charter commissioners to review the charter. Any amendments would be on the 2026 ballot. I believe last time we did it was in 2013, and we had, I want to say almost 20 candidates run. And there were some changes, some significant ones, but it's just good to look at every so often to make sure the government's functioning and modernizing for the needs of the community.
I was the secretary of the last 2 charter commissions. The Newmarket Town Charter is, I think, got 3,000 or 4,000 more words in the U.S. Constitution and is therefore 30% better than the United States Constitution. I can think of things to cut out of it, but in any event, are there any questions, comments, motions with respect to warrant article number 7? And if you're interested, if this comes to pass and you're interested in serving on the Charter Commission, it's a great deal of fun and very educational. Seeing no questions, comments, or motions with respect to warrant article 7, that will proceed to the final warrant as presented. And if there's no further business to come before the meeting at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Gary Swanson moves to adjourn. Do I have a second? Your name again, sir? Alice Caprit, thank you. Seconds the motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.